John 15, 1-6 speaks of the beauty and grace of staying connected to Jesus. In this video, I'll be talking about the most important place to dwell. My name is Joseph Tobias. John 15, 4-5 says, "Abide in me and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." It is no secret that the way we communicate has evolved, and it continues to evolve right before our eyes. Since the advent of social media, the debates on the advantages and disadvantages of such means of communication is an attestation to the fact that we still are trying to figure out how to manage the current realities of human communication. You see, hands are taking more responsibilities these days. Sentences are broken down into an emoji. Moods and feelings are summarized into GIFs. And on the other side, you lie on your couch and you reply LOL, laughing out loud, with an angry face, feeling sorry for yourself. You see, the way we communicate might have changed, but the way we communicate with God, I strongly believe, has not changed. The way we relate with Him might have been impacted by the way we communicate in the world, but I believe that it is still a calling for us to dwell in Him and staying connected with Jesus Christ. That's why John 15, 1-6 reminds us that to live fruitful lives, our communication with God must be the source through which we communicate with and to the world. It was the philosopher Blaise Pascal who says, "All of humanity's problem stems from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." We live such busy lives in the world today, and we take pride in our busyness. A full calendar is a mark of success or a successful life. So when Jesus bids us to abide in Him, to come dwell, He makes a demand that is countercultural. We have become so busy that to abide in Christ seems to be a waste of time in comparison to all the other things we think we need to do. This text today is rather a graceful invitation from God. We find God's grace everywhere in the text. The disciples, if you read, are invited to be partakers in the true vine. And it went on to say, those that dwell in Him, He prunes. The disciples, so that they can be even more fruitful. They are not left alone by themselves, but the Father actively participates in the grooming process in their lives, so they can live even more fruitful lives. It is not about their efforts or abilities, but the prerogative of the Father to make them better than they would have been all by themselves. Out of His love, He invited them, thus inviting us today, to remain in Him. Out of His goodness, He offers to remain in them. And out of His mercy, He makes them participants of the life of God. Out of His love, He warns them that apart from Him, they can do nothing. Out of His grace, He offers them His life, which is truly life. And out of His mercy, He offers a way for all to be delivered from lives that dries up like branches that will be thrown into the fire. It is grace that Jesus shows the way out of a life of perpetual emptiness. He is God incarnate that came to show all men and women that what we desire, what we want, and what we need are not things, but Him. He shows the disciples that life's truest meaning are not in the world's definition of success, but a life that is content to abide in Jesus Christ. That is beautiful. That's the grace and the mercy of God. Fruitfulness is achieved only when we remain in Jesus Christ, when we dwell and when we abide in Him. Without Christ, we can do a lot, but before Christ, it is called nothing. Fruitfulness is found not in the things we do, but in the place that we abide, in the place that we dwell. Helping the poor, coming to church, giving for missions, fighting for justice. These are all good things that I'll encourage you to do as a young person. But if these things are not an outflow from abiding in Christ, it can easily become about us, our glory, our pride, our hard work. And when it has become about us, then it is no longer about the grace of Jesus Christ. And if it is no longer about grace, it becomes works. And since it is now works, it becomes a burden. But a life that is abandoned in Christ will produce fruits that resembles Jesus Christ. For the very outflow of such life will be a direct outcome of the overflow of God's grace abiding in the life that abides in Him. Just like a branch detached is useless, so a life detached from Christ is fruitless. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in Jesus Christ. Maybe we have been abiding in the church and not in Jesus Christ. Maybe we have been playing religion for too long now. Just maybe that's what we've been doing. But we are not really staying connected and dwelling in Jesus Christ. We're invited to this relationship, this meaningful life, this calling of God upon us to come, abide, and dwell. For that is the most important place we can be. Let the outflow of your life, let everything you do come from this place of dwelling with Jesus Christ. You will find meaning, purpose, joy, and happiness, because it is no longer about you, but about the one who died for you and who you are living for. I hope we step into this week fully living out our faith for Jesus Christ, while fully dwelling in His presence, showing the world that yes, we live, but it is no longer I who lives, but Christ who lives in me. You have a blessed and a fruitful week. God's blessings. Bye-bye.